2018 for me in Missouri was a grind, as usual for me. But started off, man, it was looking like we were gonna be batting 1,000. Had a deer, a 5-year-old deer that we named Dirty. Really old deer, had a bunch of trash, that's why we named him Dirty. Early October, you know, he had moved from where we had kind of surveyed him all of the summer. He moved over to the middle of the farm and started hitting some scrapes and daylighting. And on October 14th, I had a cold front come through, north wind. Slid into this stand that we had and thought, man, we're gonna sit it out. Hopefully we get a chance at this deer. And lo and behold, you know, 2 hours before dark, here he comes walking down the trail.
Yeah. Meh. I don't know if they got through there.
Initially with the shot, you know, I was really worried about the impact and about, you know, how much penetration I got with the broadhead. Didn't know. Fast forward, we give him about 4 hours, go back in, look for him, nothing. I find the arrow with about 5 inches of penetration. I was shooting an expandable at the time that did not deploy. I, you know, started scratching my head. We did a search for him for about 2 weeks, nothing. Pull a card and he ends up showing up on one camera the day after I shot him, walking through the farm, and that was the last thing I got of him. I had nothing. So I'm back to the grindstone trying to figure out something in November on a different deer. Had another coal buck on another farm that was an 8-year-old deer that we named Gravy. And we get Gravy in on us, comes in perfect, broad daylight in the morning. I go to shoot him, hit my arm with my string like a complete amateur, and hit him in the back strap. So this deer runs, we trailed him for, oh my gosh, almost a mile, and end up losing blood in the creek and I have no idea where he went. But lo and behold, he shows up back on camera after season and he's alive as well. So now I've got these 2 bucks going into 19 that I gotta finish the story on and I gotta try to get ahead of. And that's really the goal for Missouri in 2019. So coming into 2019, we're trying to follow these 2 bucks with Dirty and Gravy, and we're feeding big time, we're feeding them shock effect, we're giving them mineral, we're trying to do everything we can do to get them back up to health and to put, you know, more inches on their head. Now both these deer are old deer. You gotta remember, you know, Gravy was an 8-year-old deer, Dirty was a 5-year-old deer, so now they're looking at 6 and 9. So I'm kind of wondering what kind of growth we're gonna get. A lot of times you hear about them going non-typical, so we don't know really what to expect, but we're gonna feed them and we're gonna take care of them. We're gonna try to get them back up to health to where those 2 bucks are at the top of our list for this year. So I also went to the drawing board with my malfunctions. I always try to learn from my mistakes. And I changed my broadhead, started shooting a swap broadhead that's a hybrid. You can shoot it as an expandable or you can shoot it as a cut-on contact. I got that thing shooting well. I'm excited to put it to the test and hopefully get one of these deer in front of us. So Dirty, for the most part, really did the exact same thing that he did in 18, where we fed him on the west side of the farm, then he moved to the middle of the farm in October, and literally picked him up on the same scrape about 2 days apart from when we did in 18. So I knew if I got a cold front, I could get in there in October in the same set and probably have a pretty good shot at him.
So it's October 15th, and last year on October 14th, I shot a buck right here named Dirty. My broadhead didn't open, I was shooting expandables at the time. Broadhead didn't open, I one-lunged him. We lost him, we got pictures of him like the next day, and then never saw him again all year. He showed up this summer on the big time, and we fed him big time, a shock effect in it all summer long. all the way into the fall. He actually grew about probably 15 inches. He's 6-year-old now this year. But just a big deer, nice frame. I got kind of a score to settle with him, so we're in the same spot. He showed up on camera again about the same time frame, so we're gonna hopefully try to get him killed tonight. We have tonight and tomorrow night to hunt him with good winds, so we'll see what happens, but it's early. I mean, we got in here, it's a long walk. We got in here probably around 3:30, so we're gonna sit it out. He usually daylight's pretty good here if he's in here, so hopefully he is, and hopefully we can write the final chapter of the story tonight, but we'll see what happens.
So as we sit in the stand, really don't see much deer movement at all. We've sat there, we had a couple of does come by us, but it's getting dark, and I'm watching the clock because, you know, we're losing shooting light, losing shooting light, losing shooting light. And I have about 4 minutes left of shooting light, and I hear something behind us, and I'd heard something, you know, a couple different times back there. I just thought it was a squirrel, but this sounded like deer. It sounded like a deer walking or something. And I just kind of look over my shoulder, and all I see is rack coming through the timber, coming right by us.
Are you freaking? What just happened?
Oh my God.
What? I think I smoked him.
Oh God.
That was dirty. So 366 days ago, I one-lunged him right here at 18 yards. We sitting here, we literally have like 4 minutes left of shooting light. I hear something behind me. I kept looking. I just kept hearing something. And all of a sudden, he's freaking 15 yards behind us, and he came all the way down. He was almost dead downwind of us. I had to lean around the bag, and it was just second nature. I don't even, like, just freaking second nature.
That's what you like to see. I can't really say I'd want a better arrow, so looks like we got bubbles in it, which we should have hit lungs. It sounded like it hit lungs when I hit him, so. And that deer, I one-lunged that deer last year, and I was shooting mechanicals at that time, and I had them not open, so we switched. It made me switch to a fixed blade, and I found the swap broadhead. It's a 4-blade. It's just been doing wonders on these deer, so this is the third one we've shot, but blood is pretty solid for the arrow. But so getting up to this deer is just an absolute moose of a body of a deer, but really impressed with, you know, our feeding program and what we did. It really kind of showed, you know, you talk about a deer that got one lung. He literally had one lung that was completely black, not usable at all. And for that deer to go, and he probably put on, we were thinking somewhere around 13 to 18 inches from 5 to 6, and after being wounded that next year. So just an unbelievable deer, and a deer that, you know, I'll never forget. To kill him a year and a day out of the same tree that I wounded him from is just an unreal story. And I'm on like cloud 9, man. I'm super happy. To me, you know, my season's made at this point, but I still had unfinished business with Gravy. Robbie still got a tag as well. So I'm gonna jump behind the camera, and we're gonna try to get some of these other deer killed. So with Gravy, he was a little bit different. He was a little bit more visible than what Dirty was. Gravy had showed up in the winter, had stayed in the middle of the farm all year, ate food, but he did do the same thing when summer came around. He moved to the north part of the farm, started hitting some mineral there, started hitting a little bit of big tine, and we really followed him a little bit through velvet, but that was about it. I knew that, you know, we had to get Gravy killed. He had blossomed into an amazing deer. As you know, an 8-year-old deer, he was probably 115 inches. I think I have one side of his sheds. He went to a 160-inch deer as a mainframe 10 at 9 years old. So unbelievable to put those inches on, and really kind of talks again back to our feeding program and what we do to try to take care of these deer in the off season. But we got Hagen. Hagen's got a tag. I'm gonna try to get Hagen on this deer. His goal this year was to shoot a 4.5 or older deer. Gravy's definitely that, and we're gonna try to get in front of him. As soon as the rut kicked in and late October came in, he moved right back to the middle of the farm and was really visible. This deer lived in a 4-acre patch of pasture that had little bitty creeks going through it, and he never left it. I watched him for 13 days straight from my pickup with a spotting scope, and watched, he had at least 20 does in there that would come in. He would literally breed them, they would leave, he'd stay with one of them. And it was just like musical chairs going on in those draws. It was unbelievable. He taught me more about what mature deer can do in the rut than any deer has. So rifle season rolls around, I take Hagen in, I find, we set up at top and watch for Gravy. I see him, he's in this little bitty draw where he'd been for the last 2 weeks. He's got a doe bedded up in there, so we just get close to where we can kind of watch both sides of the draw, sit on the ground and just wait for him to come out.
Tell me when you're ready. Somebody tell me when they're ready. Hagen. Bat! Gravy!
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Kill him.
You're good.
I missed him. Again. Got him that time. Bro, you just stroked a giant. Did you see how big that dude was? Did you see how wide that deer was? Oh my God! You killed Gravy!
All right, so we got this guy pulled out of there, man. He fell into a giant ditch, but he was dead right inside the timber, right where we saw him go in. So Hexter had to shoot him twice, hit him good both times actually. The front one hit him a little bit forward, first one hit him a little bit forward, but the back one absolutely hammered him. So just a giant deer, man. This is a big one, and your biggest by far, your oldest by far too. This deer is a deer that showed up on us last year. I wounded him November 7th, I believe, with a bow. And then he moved to the middle of the farm and became like super visible. I fed him all winter actually, the Shock Effect and Big Time kind of combination that we've been running, and he loved it, and it absolutely exploded him. He was a 115-inch deer last year and probably 7 years old. We're thinking he's 8 this year, and blew up into, I would guess, probably 150-inch 10-pointer. I would have never put 2 and 2 together, but he's got this giant ripped ear in this spot, and that's kind of how we kept track of him from year to year. It's how we put 2 and 2 together, because I was like, man, this deer showed up. I'm like, what kind of big 10 did I have, an old 10? I went back in my history, didn't have anybody, and I noticed his ear rip. And I went back and started looking at ear rips, and it ended up being the deer we called Gravy, which was just a junk 8-pointer we tried to kill as a coal. And man, he exploded off of that stuff. So just a real testament to what, that combination can do for deer growth. I mean, if it can make this deer jump 40+ inches, who knows what it can do to a 3 or 4 year old that's really, going to make a big jump just with that age gap alone. So